Order, order. I call Sarah Owen to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr Davis, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I will say now I won't be taking interventions because this is a short debate and I want everybody to be able to say what they need to say and want to say. I'm sure we have all caught ourselves at some stage moaning about lockdown, but for people of Kashmir, it's not something new. And unlike here, in Kashmir, lockdown is not about safety, it is about control. Our lockdown, we talk about Netflix, FaceTime, Zoom. In Kashmir, it's very different. The lockdown of 2019 shut off entire communities, also their communications to the outside world. Around 7 million people silenced, cut off, families worried about loved ones, students studying in Luton unable to get the fees paid by parents in Kashmir as banking ceased. Curfews to control people's lives, not a virus, a lockdown enforced by 500,000 soldiers. When Narendra Modi stripped Kashmir of its autonomy and statehood in August 2019, he also cancelled Kashmiris' rights to land and jobs. Along with those loss of rights were the loss of dreams for so many. It also laid bare the true motivation for such a removal of freedoms for the entire world to see, yet say nothing, and unfortunately, in most cases, do nothing. Now, I've attended numerous meetings with people living in Luton and internationally who are either in Jammu and Kashmir, have loved ones there, or are people who just care about human rights. Because you don't and shouldn't have to be Kashmiri to care about their struggle for self-determination. Their struggle to live safely, their struggle to live freely. What happens in Kashmir is felt across the world and in communities like mine in Luton North. The pandemic has not slowed the reports of human rights abuses, and in some cases has exacerbated people's pain. Muslims have reported being turned away from hospitals. This is shocking at the best of times, but especially so during a global pandemic. Spates of unexplained, uninvestigated killings, the recent killing of 2 young men and a 16-year-old boy, Atta Mushtaq, must be investigated, and I asked the Minister if he would be willing to join this call for a transparent investigation into their deaths and to make this call clear to his relevant international counterparts. And as with all war, sadly, women are the silent casualties. And the situation in Kashmir is no different. There are numerous reports of Kashmiri women and girls being raped. Senior officials in the BJP have put on record their intentions to make Kashmiri women a part of this conflict. The Chief Minister of Haryana said, "Some people are now saying that as Kashmir is open, brides will be brought from there. But jokes apart, if the gender ratio is improved, then there will be a right balance in society." That is appalling. And I've heard from women in Kashmir who are terrified of being assaulted by the thousands of soldiers on their doorstep. Women fear for their lives and do not feel safe. We often hear about the UK's commitment to women's rights, but will the Minister's actions match the rhetoric? What guarantees can he give that rape claims in asylum cases from Kashmiri women will be taken seriously by his colleagues at the Home Office, especially after the worrying reports from Women Against Rape that thousands of asylum-seeking women were either disbelieved out of hand or not routinely asked if they had suffered sexual violence in asylum interviews? I sincerely hope that changes. Now, I want to raise with the Minister an issue not often discussed regarding Kashmir, but in the world we live in, it's incredibly important. What is this government doing to tackle the use of social media sites, and in particular WhatsApp, which uses to stoke the flames of division and messages that we see to further weaponise Islamophobia in the region? Online communications is now part of every modern-day warfare. We regularly see states and leaders, not just Trump, use online propaganda as part of their arsenal. And on the flip side, Kashmiris' freedom of speech online is suffocated to the point that any criticism against the Indian government risks terrorism charges. So will the Minister commit to work internationally on the issue of online propaganda, fake news, the spread of racism, and the measures taken to silence news coming from Kashmir? The now decades-long fight for Kashmiris to determine their own future looks further from reality than ever before. I wish we were here to talk about what the future of Kashmir could look like, how their people could rightly shape and be in charge of their own destiny, what would come next. But given the current political situation in Jammu and Kashmir, it is clear that we are a long way from realising that hope. And until the people of Kashmir have the most fundamental of all human rights, which is to live safely and to be free from fear, we must and we will continue to stand with the people of Kashmir. And to Kashmiris, whether in Kashmir or in Luton North, you have not only my solidarity, but my enduring friendship and commitment to keep fighting until your human rights are protected now and in the future.
Yeah.